Okay, class, welcome to today's session. I'm happy to see you guys, and let's dig into today's lesson. But before we dive into today's lesson, let's bring our learning objective first, so that, as usual, so that all of us will know what we are going to do, so that we can all be in the same line. So let me bring my small sheet here, and today we are not going to do much, but very interesting topic. So by the end of today's lesson, everyone should understand what Python operators are and how to use such operators. And then the second objective is we should understand conditional programming. Some call it flow control. So these two objectives is very important and need to take seriously. So let's bring our PyCharm out so that we can start to do something. Okay, but then yesterday we wrote a script to take users' information, and then we also ran another script that could tell us the time. And then I was telling you guys that you guys need to be creative in creating simple scripts that can help society or automate tasks very fast for you. For instance, I just have a simple script here, and as you can see, it can calculate the years of a person as soon as you enter his year of birth. It will tell you the number of years the person has spent on earth. And we have declared our variable as birth year, and we assign it to, and all of you understand this parameter now. If you don't understand what the previous video, we have the int and then the input, and then we are just asking the user to enter your birth year. So when the user enters the birth year, then our second line of code, we have age is equal to 2020. We are in 2020 because we want to print the person's age, and we are now in 2020. So whoever is alive, whoever is alive today, we haven't gotten to 2021. So all of us are still in 2020. So we set our variable age to be equal to 2020 minus your birth year, which we declare initially. So we are just going to subtract. If the person enters his birth year, it is going to subtract from 2020, which is the current year in which we are now. So, and then tell the person's age, and that's why we are printing it out here. So for instance, let's run the simple script and see what we are going to get. So just right click inside the Windows box there, and then you wait, because I'm recording, so it will come. So let's print. Our file name is learning to code.py. So you can see that run learning to code. So just click on it and then wait for it to run. This is just a very simple script, but helps a lot. So as you guys can see, it has returned that enter your birth year. Enter your what? Your birth year. So if you just enter any year, so assuming I've entered 1987, then when we press enter, it should tell us if someone was born around 1987 till date, what is that person's age? What is the number of years the person has spent? Whether 20, 40, 90, whatever. So let's press enter and see what we are going to get. And you can see it has given us what? 33. So it means that from 1987 till date, whoever was born around this 1987, then they are now 33 years old. So we can still run the code again and then maybe put a different year. So let's see again. So let's put maybe the 1990 children. Let's look for the 1990 children. So assuming you were born in 2000, let's put 2000 and press enter. And all those who were born around 2000, then till date they are 20 years now. So this is just a simple script that you can write so that you can ask your colleagues to be entering their birth year, and then it will be telling them their number of years, and then that will be incredible, and they will respect you. And this is how we use the knowledge we gain to do real life situation things. And you can make it. I don't want to take you people to for loop whereby we can set it to even 1,000 people. So whoever comes, immediately you print, the first person will enter his age, and then it will ask for the second person to enter his age till 1,000 people. So assuming your school, you have, or inside your class, you are 45 in number, you can set a condition whereby it will ask the person's name, like yesterday what we did, and their years, and then it will be looping through the 45 people, and then you get all their information and pop it into what? A file, and then print it to whoever needs that information. So it's just a matter of you passing a paper through the students so that people will be writing their names, their basic information till it gets to the last person, and then they give the paper back to you. So you can also write a Python script, and then your colleagues will be entering their names, and then it will be going around. The next person to will enter, the next person, till it gets to the last person, and then you will have all the results with you. So these are some of the simple scripts you can be writing. Now, our today's session, we said we have two objectives to achieve, and the two objectives are Python operators and then conditional programming. Some call it what? Flow control. So let's turn our attention to what? Python operators first. But before we do that, guys, let's create today's file. Let's create a file for today's session. So go to create a file. To create a file, let me just minimize this. To create a file, click on the file here, and then click on new project. Okay, we have a folder here, so let's create a file inside this folder. First one, Py. So instead of we creating new things and then that will slow down our machine, let's just, because we already have only one folder, only one file, which is learning to code inside this folder. So let's create another file inside this folder so that we have two files inside that a first py folder. So just right click on that first py and then navigate to new. So then go to what? Python file, and then put your file there. So let's call it maybe flow control. Flow control. And by now, sir, you should be able to create folders and create what? Files, so that, because we have been doing it all the time. So we name our file as what? Flow what? Control. So just press enter, and then the file will be created. As you can see, it is loaded. So now our file has been created. So let's run, and you can see we have our file in run flow control. So let's run it and see the output we are going to get. You see it returns nothing because we haven't written any code in it. So we have a very blank and empty screen so far. So now let's dive into Python operators, and I have a little theory notes in which we can look through before we then do the practical one. That's the usual way we have been doing it. So now this is the file I have for operators, and let me just read it to you guys, and then we can continue with the practical one. Operators are special word symbols in Python that carry out arithmetic or logical computation. The value that the operator operates on it is called the operand. So it means that the value itself is called the operand. So you have to understand this concept. And in program, no one will ask you to define all these things, but we just want you guys to know the concepts so that in real life you will know what you are doing. So once you know the practical, you can explain things to other people. So operators are just, we have the logical ones and we have the arithmetic ones. So we have it here, the two that they have mentioned, arithmetic and then logical. This arithmetic is not new to us in the sense, and even the logical self, because we have gone through all these things back at primary and then junior high school, and even if also senior high school. So it's not something new. Now, arithmetic operators, they are operators that are used to perform what? Mathematical operation like addition, as you people know, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. So these are what we call the what? The arithmetic what? Operators. And in Python we use the plus sign, this symbol, instead of the writing, the string. So you use the plus to add two numbers together. You use subtraction, this subtraction to subtract one number from the other, and then we use this / to divide a number, and then we also use this star to multiply. So take note, Python we use the plus sign, which is the additional sign, to add two numbers. We use the minus sign here to subtract two numbers. We use the / to divide two numbers, and we use the what? The hash to multiply what? Two numbers or more. Now, then we have what? Comparison operators. And this is very important because we'll be learning flow control, and this will govern most of it. Now, comparison operators are used to what? To compare what? Values. For instance, in Python, when we learn equal to as what? Assignment operator. So assignment operator is different from comparison operator. We say assignment operator is the equal sign. But here we are talking about what? Comparison. So it is going to compare two words, whether one is equal to one. So if you are comparing, you use the double equal sign. So that means that we want to know whether one in the left hand side and the one in the right hand side are the same. So if you want to find out from Python perspective, you have to use the two equal signs. That is a comparison what? Operator. Then we also know this less than operator. This less than, we can also compare two words to know whether A is less than B or B is less than A, in that order. So we use the less than to compare two numbers. Then we have the greater than sign, which we know already back at primary and junior high school. And we use that one to compare whether A is greater than B or B is greater than what? A, whatever. Then we have the less than or what? Equal to. And we have the greater than or what? Equal to. So these are some of the what? The comparison operators that we use in what? Python. Then we then move on to logical what? Operators. This is very important, and you must take key note of that. And logical operator, we use the N, the AND, the N, and then the OR, the OR, and then NOT as what? Our logical what? Operators. And these logical operators, we use it to validate. Many times we use it to validate, especially when you want to take users' authentication, their usernames and their password. You are going to use this N or not to validate whether the username the user has entered and the password he or she has entered matches. If one of it doesn't, then you deny the person. If one matches, or if all the two matches, you allow the person to enter. So if it is username and password, you want the person first, the person username, and then the password he or she is entering to match before you then allow the person to access any site that you are built for them. For instance, Facebook, we all know of Facebook. Before you sign into your Facebook, you have to enter your username and your password. If you enter the username correct and the password correct, it will allow you to enter into Facebook, to sign in into our Facebook. But if you enter one, the username is correct, but the password is not correct, they will not allow you. Or if the username is wrong and the password is correct, they will not allow you again. And if all are even not correct, they will not even allow you. So they want both your username and password to be valid, so that they will know that it is you, and for that matter, they will grant you access to their site. So these are the conditions, the and, the or, and then the not, that programmers use at the background to govern how you people log, or how all of us will log into what websites or any site at all we visit that needs users what authentication. Now we then move on to bitwise operators, and here they are saying that bitwise operator acts on what operands as if they were what strings or binary digits. It operates bit by bit, hence the name. So what they are just trying to tell us that, so in real life, instead of we using the N here, the AND, we use the pound sign, this sign. So let me make it so that you people can see. We use this sign as our N sign. So we use pound twice, or whatever name you call it. Then we also use this pipe. You can see a very straight line, two straight lines, very straight line, vertical straight line. We use it as what? Or. So this stands for or, and this stands for N. So be aware of it, and then when we are using it later, you will not be confused. So this is what we term as what? Python what? Operators. So now let's demonstrate some of these stuffs in real life situations. So for instance, if I have 2 plus 6, then I said if you press enter, it will not print anything, or if you print it will not print anything unless we add the what? The built-in function print. So let's just add it, print, then we then put it into what? 2. Then we then run the code. So when we run print 3 plus 6, it should give us what? 9. So let's print it and see. So let's run the code, and guys, you can see that it has returned what? 9. So we had our answer to be what? 9, and then there's 0 what? Code. It means that there's no error whilst running it. Now this is how we use this additional what? Operator. So if it is subtraction, so you just put the minus in between, and then let's run and see what we are going to get. Let's run, and you can see we had negative what? 3. It has given us what? Negative what? 3. So 3 minus 6 should give you negative, because 6 is bigger than what? 3. I need not to explain this thing because everyone knows this simple arithmetic. Then we use the / as our division sign. So let's run and see. 3 divided by what? 6. 3 divided by 6. Let's wait for it to. So, and it has returned 0.5. That's 3 divided by 6. Then let's multiply 3 multiply. So we use the what? The multiplication symbol is the star. And we have been using star in our mobile phone to check balance and other stuff. So we use the star there, and then let's run 3 times 6, and then it will return 18. So you can use these arithmetic operators to perform all your calculations in what? In Python. So now that we understand this arithmetic aspect of it, then we thought of so many operators. So it means that we are done with these arithmetic operators. So we are now going to look for these comparison operators. So let's dive into how to compare these comparison operators. So let's declare some variables. So let's declare number 1. And I always advise you people to always use a descriptive word, names, rather than short names. So let's name this one as number 1 is equal to. So let's set number 1 to 20. 20 is my favorite number. And then let's set number 2. Number 2 to be maybe something like 10. Now, and we want to compare number 1 and number 2. Which one is greater than the other? So what we can do is we can say, we can just print, bracket open. So the key function is there. Then number 1. Number one is number 1 greater than number 2. My machine is slowing down now, guys, don't worry. It's number 1 greater than number 2. So, and let's try and execute this code and see the kind of error or whether we are going to get things right. So let's run the code and wait. And you can see that it is true that number 1 is greater than what? Number 2, and that's why it has returned what? True. So now let's put number 1 is greater than number 2 and see what it will give us. So let's print is number 1 less than, this is less than sign, the other one was greater than. So it's number 1 less than number 2. So let's run that one too. And you can see that it's false because a number 1 is greater than what? Number 2. So this is how Python interprets what? The conditional. So let's put the equal sign. So to compare this one, we'll put equal. And you people should get the answer we are going to get. I don't think number 1 is equal to number 2. But then let's print and see what Python will tell us. And it has returned what? False again. Yeah, and it's supposed to be false. Then the last operator that we want to use is not equal to, which is also, so not equal to. And guys, forgive me, yesterday I was too busy in such a way that I was using this symbol, the exclamation mark, this one as question mark. Sorry, so forgive me for that. Sometimes it's hard when you are recording, talking, typing, and then doing all these stuff. So let's see. Let's print. We are saying that number 1 is not equal to number 2. So the answer should be what? True. So but then let's try it and see what we are going to get. And it has returned what? True. Because number 1 and number 2 are not the same. So it is true. So these are some of the comparison operators you can use when dealing with Python. But our focus is not even on this. Our focus is to understand this concept so that we can use it more efficiently in everyday life. So when we move into our flow control, then that you even feel how these things works in real life. So let's move to our second objective. So this is just our what? Both we are done with the operators, that is the arithmetic operators, and we are also done with what? The comparison operators. But we are going to be using set operators throughout our learning curve. So just tighten up your belts, and then I'll take you to our own destination where we want to arrive, and then everyone will be successful. So just sit, remain calm, and then you have a teacher who will take you through everything gradually. Then at the end of the day, you will be successful. You guys will be successful when it comes to software development. So let's bring our learning objective. So we have done with what? Python operators. Now we are now going to deal with what? Conditional programming. And every day we all perform one way or the other conditional stuffs. For instance, let me bring my cheat sheet so that we can learn the theory first and then go to the practical way. So this is what they are saying. Conditional programming. So it says conditional programming or branching. So when they say branching, it means that maybe you have two routes. So you either pass through here or pass through there. So these are some of the things we are going to do when we say conditional or flow. So let's continue. So we have flow control or whatever you call it. Now the branching. So it says that conditional programming or branching is something you and I do every day. So they are already telling us that we just use it every day. You and I, we all use it. And let's look at instances that we use conditional programming. For instance, one, if the light is green, then I can cross. Assuming you have gotten to the zebra cross, and then the light turn to green so that those who are pedestrians, they can cross the road to the other side. So if the light is green, then I can go. So this is a decision that you are making. When you are standing, you are looking at the traffic light and you are observing. If it is time for people to then cross the road, then you then cross. You don't cross when the vehicles are moving. So you whilst you are standing there, it's a decision that you are making or you have made, because it is not time for you to cross. So you wait when it is time for you to cross, then you cross. So as you are standing, you are making what? Or you already adjust yourself to that decision. Then another one too is, if it is raining, then I am taking the umbrella. Yeah, you are telling us that if it is raining, assuming it is raining, and you have to come out, then you have to take umbrella. Other than that, you have to stay indoors, because if you come out, the rain is going to beat you. So the only thing you can come out and then you'll be safe out of the rain is to use umbrella. So that's a decision that we made every day, because when you have to come out and it is about to rain, what you thought of is to take either your raincoat or the umbrella, so that when you come out and then it starts to rain, you can use your umbrella or your raincoat. Then another one too, and this is practical for we those who are students, right? If I am late for school, then I will call my teacher. Assuming you are late to school, maybe today you overslept last night, and you wake up and then you check your time and it is already past 8 or 9, and you don't want to come and then your teacher will beat you, then maybe you can pre-call your teacher that what and what has happened to you, and for that matter, even you can even decide not to even go to the school, because you are already late and you don't want to go, and then they'll beat you. So these are the decisions we have been making every day. So we are going to use these things to work in real life situations. Then we also, so this is the last explanation. Now the main tool is the what? The if statement. So we use the what? The if to what? To determine the what? The conditions. To branch, to either branch to A or what? Branch to what? B or otherwise. Which comes in what? Different forms and colors. But basically, what it does is to evaluate an expression, like we said earlier on. Whatever you are doing, you are evaluating what? Some particular kind of what? Decision. And then you pick the right one and then move over it. So now, let's move on to our practical stuffs. So how we can use it. So here that we are going to use the what? The conditions, the flow control. So what we are going to do, let me just cancel this. So our first decision we are going to make. And in decision, we have so many structures. We have the if. This is one condition. We have the if, and then the if else is also there. And then we have the else. We have the else. So we are going to be using this conditional operators because it's just like condition, because this one will guide you to set your condition. If I am late to school, then I'll not go again. So we are going to use the if. The else if we use it when we have multiple decisions to make. So we only use the if it is one decision. But if it is multiple decision, we are going to use what? Else if in between the if and then the last else. So today we are just going to deal with the if and then the one condition, and then tomorrow we shall continue with the what? The else if, which is the second one. So let's wait. What is happening? My friend, go. So now let's cancel this and let's look at what we are going to run. So let's put late is equal to what? True. Let's set late to true. So late. Variable late, it means that we have declared late to be equal to what? True. True. And you can see this is not the right way to do it. So take one, and then when you say late is equal to true, then let's come down here. And it is telling us that we can't set it this way. So let's do the right thing. Now, we are going to validate a particular information. So to do that, let's say if let's bring the keyword there, because I want to make it simple before we can go to the complex stuff. If, then you bring this open parenthesis and then the closing one. Then if 10, because we have been using this number, is less than 20, right? Then let's bring our column. And this column is very important because it's going to indent your program, and you can see it has indented it. Then print what? Print. Then what are we printing? Great. If it is greater than that, let's put great. And if not, so let's say else. So to print else, let's go out of the loop, the condition, and then bring the column again and say print. Oh, sorry. Oh, let's make it. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. So let's run this code and see the result we are going to get. we are saying that if 10 is less than 20, it should print great. Otherwise, it should print, oh, sorry. So we are just validating, because I want to take you through the basics before we go to complex stuff. So we are saying that if 10 is less than what? 20, then it should print out what? Great. But if it is not so, then it should say, oh, sorry. So for instance, and this is how it works. You bring the keyword here, if, and then you bring the opening and then the close parenthesis here. Then you set your condition inside the two parentheses. And then you bring this colon. Now, when you bring this colon, immediately you press enter, it will automatically indent, and we learned indentation before. It will automatically indent it like this. You can see it has started here. The print started here, but not at the what? The end, the beginning. So it will indent it, and what it is, this is what we call indentation. The way it has shifted the print front small. So it has indented it, and then we put our string here, great. Then else, because we just want to validate one condition. If it is not true, then it should print what? Oh, sorry. And before we can validate these two, that's why we bring the what? The else. In case this one is not true, then this one will print out. So, and now, and you can see that because this is the last condition that we are setting, we made this else to also start at the beginning of the what? Of the line. Other than that, if we shift it inside small, then it means that we are still looping inside this first one, condition. So if you want to go out of the first condition, so you have to go out. You have to let the else start at the beginning of the one, the editor. So now let's print and see what we are going to even get. So let's run the code. And you guys can see it has returned what? Great. Because we all know that 10 is less than what? 20. So if 10 is less than what? 20, we are saying that it should return what? Great. So what if we change this one to greater than? So if 10 is greater than what? 20, which we all know 10 is not greater than what? 20. So let's print and see the results we are going to get. Let's print. And you see the return is what? Oh, sorry. So this is how we set what? Conditions. If you have any question pertaining to this, let me know so that I'll clarify your doubts. So this is the basis in which we set what? Conditions in what? In Python. And this is the concept. They say flow control. So if you see people saying flow control, this is how it works. So now let's do something. Let's do something a little bit better than what we are doing. So someone is just here trying to disturb. So don't mind. So people are doing their stuff, and some people, they have long mouths. So sorry guys, and let's continue with our. Someone was just trying to interact with our lesson. Let me get back to you guys. Let me deal with that person and then come back. Okay, guys, welcome back. Now, let's dig into the if condition once more. So let's try and see. Let's do some exercise in such a way that if a person enters a number, it tells whether the number is either positive or what? Negative. So we are going to, because we've learned how to accept input from users. So let's try and then use it here. So we are going to ask a user to enter a number. And if the user enters any number, then it should determine whether that number is either positive or what? Negative. So let's So now let's define our variable first, number, and then assign it to the int, because we want to validate whatever the user is entering. So int, then we then bring our input, then we bring another, and then we then write the prompt that we want the user to read and then follow the instruction. So we say enter a number. So enter a number. And as soon as the user enters any number, then the program should be able to tell whether that number is either positive or what? Negative. So how are we going to implement this? To do it, then we have to come and then use the what? The if condition. So if, then bracket, we then bring our closing and then the opening brace, and then we say if number, which is our variable, the number the user is entering, if number is less than, so let's give a space, if number is less than 0, if number is what? Less than 0, then it should say what? Negative. But if the number is more than what? 0, then it should say what? Positive. So let's bring our, and then let's bring the indentation. So print. So we are invoking the built-in print. Then we bring colon. So what are we printing? The number you entered is what? Negative. So the number you have entered is negative. The number you have entered is what? Negative. So let me use here. The number you have entered is what? Negative. Else. So let's put else. And then let's print. Else, let's print the number you have entered is what? Positive. So the number you have entered is what? Positive. So if the user entered any number that is less than what? 0, then it should say that the number you have entered is what? Negative. Else, it should say the number you have entered is what? Positive. So now let's run the code and see, and so that it will prompt the user to enter a number. So let's try. Let's right click, run the code, and then it says enter a number. So if we enter maybe something like 100, okay, 90, we have entered 90. Let's see. So it says the number you have entered is what? Positive. That's brilliant. So you can see this is how we make what? Decisions. So let me run the code again and then enter a negative number and see whether it will be able to really get there. So let's put negative 90. Let's put negative 90 and see. And then it is saying the number you have entered is negative. So that's brilliant. You see, so this is how in real life people write programs and then you use it every day and you don't know what is happening at the background. This is how we write programs, and then it takes information from you and make decisions for you, and it makes everyone's life very simple, very easy nowadays. Look at mobile money. So very soon maybe we shall be building something like mobile money system, whereby it will give you the menu to pick the numbers, the kind of task you want to perform. Assuming maybe mobile money, so it will give you 1 to be transfer money, 2 maybe buy data, 3 whatever, check balance in that order. So at the end of the day, you should be able to use these conditions and then other input. Sorry guys, my lights have gone off. I have to switch to sorry guys, you know our lighting system in Ghana here is very poor, so our light went off, so we have to go and change it, and then we can switch to the generator so that we can continue. So like I was saying, so at the end of the day, you guys should be able to build what? Something like mobile money systems, so that they just start doing something basic, something small, and then it will bring out your creativity out. And then by the time you see, you will building what? Big things. So this is how we all started. We started building something small so that people will be using, and then they will like it, and then it encourages you, and then you continue to develop something more bigger till. So if you want to use this software engineering skills to get money in life, then you have to start practicing and then thinking out of the box, be very creative, and at the end of the day, you will see yourself among the big players. And so this is how we decide on what conditions. For instance, I don't want to take you into bigger stuff, like we can even make it and say, maybe set another rule that will even check if the person enters what 0, then it should say the person have entered what 0. But now let's run it and see what, and enter 0 and see what we are going to get. So let's enter what 0. So they say you have entered what? A positive number. The number you have entered is positive. Yeah, even though 0 is positive, but we can still set it to let it check. If the person enters 0, then it should say the number you have entered is what? 0. But for now, today we are learning only what? One way. We don't want to bring the so many what? If, else, and other stuff so that you get confused. I'm just taking you guys gradually. So you can be performing the if and then the else for now. So tomorrow, then I will then take you to multiple what? Decisions, whereby you will make so many choices, and then it will pick the right one. So this is how flow control or branching or decisions, how it works in real life. And you have to think about what you want to do, and then you then write a program to suit what you have to do. So we will teach you how things work, but then you have to think and say, okay, I want to do this, so how can I use my programming skills to work it out? So to build something that can perform that task for me. And you need to be creative in that one aspect. And we even learn concatenation. So we can even add something here. If the person enter any number, then say the number you have entered is negative, and then output the number the person used. And we say we use the additional sign to concatenate. So what are we concatenating? The variable, and the variable is what? Number. So we can concatenate here too. We learned concatenation yesterday. Number. So now let's run the code and then enter the number and see what we are going to get. So I'm going to give a space here, so there will be space in between the number and then whatever. So, and we can even decide add column and then another column. So now let's run our program once again, and then let's see what we are going to get. So it says enter a number. So when we enter 60, it is giving us error. The number you enter is what? Then, okay, so I said we shall be learning what? Debugging. So now, let's find out why it is saying that it is an error. So let's debug. They are saying that inside our file, line 5, here's line 5. So what has happened to line 5? They said the number you have entered is what? Is positive. And then they bring the number. So let's see line 5. What is the problem here? The number you have entered is positive. Then we bring our concatenation number is here. And why are they saying? So let's see. And these are some of the things that you're supposed to know. And they are saying error can only concatenate string, not integer to what? Okay, string. Okay, it means that they are telling us that we can only concatenate string to what? String to string, but not what? Integer. So because what the person is entering is what? An integer. So if we want it to accept it, maybe let's do something magic and see whether that one will work. Let's put, okay, what I'm just going to do to make things simple for you guys, let me remove the int here. Let me remove the int here, and then let's run our code once again. So let's enter a what? A number. So let's enter the same 60. That gave us error. And see. And it is still giving us what? Error. Because, and I say, not supported between what? Instance of string and the integer. So it means that you can add number to what? To string. That's what they are telling you. Python does not accept that. So for that matter, we have to just take it what? Off. So, and this is how we debug problems. Certain problems are there. The way they program the system, it doesn't support it. So you have nothing to do. But thing that is support, you read the problem, and then you can then what? Debug. So let's run our code again, and then enter any number. Let's enter 60, and it is giving us error. So why error? So now let's add the int here. Int. Okay, the error here wasn't about the int, but then let's just add the int there, and then run our code so that we can get a positive result. So let's enter the same 60, and then they said the number you have entered is what? Positive. So if we enter something that Python don't understand, it will bring the what? The error. And then you have to read and see. If it demands that you should debug it, you will debug. If it has no debugging, then you have to go and rewrite the code. It means that that's not the appropriate way to do it. And all software engineers, even the seasonal ones, those who have spent 100 years in programming, they all get errors. So feel comfortable when you are coding and then you are getting what? Errors. When you write your code and then it print out an error, it doesn't mean that you are bad. It is only telling you that, oh, please, or Charlie, we didn't understand what you want us to do. And for that matter, reposition yourself. So that's how things work in real life. If you speak to me and I can't understand you, I have to say, oh, please, I can't understand you. Can you come in again? You understand? So that's why some people say, pardon me? It means that, can you repeat yourself for me? So this is how things work. And the same thing applies to what? The programming, this programming that we are learning or we are using to build our systems. So because it's human beings, they invent it. So during the invention, they think like human beings while doing it. So if it doesn't understand something, it say, please, I don't know what you want me to do. And for that matter, can you really do something else for me to understand you? So that's how things work in real life. So this is what we have done today, because I don't want to take much of your time. We have exhausted our two objectives, which is Python what? Operators, and then the flow what? Control or conditioning. So tomorrow we are going to dive much into the flow control, because this is just the basics. I just want to get started with it so that you people will now have an idea. So tomorrow when we are building or when we are using a lot of conditions, you will not get scared. So even we can even run one script maybe and see before we can even go. So for instance, you can let's make everything tomorrow, because I don't want to confuse you guys with what we have done today. So this is where we want to learn the lesson, end the lesson for today, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Share, like, and then subscribe, so anytime I put a new video or new content into the YouTube channel, it will notify you, and then you just enter and watch, so that, and then you continue to practice. And then if you have any question, you can put it on the comment section, or you can send me maybe a WhatsApp message through my number. And I gave you my number yesterday and even the day before yesterday. So, and if you don't have it, it's 0241864311. This is my phone number, 0241864311. So if you have any problem, any issues, just call me, and then I'll fix your problem for you. Thank you for today, and then I hope to see you tomorrow.